Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Exposed, Scandalous Files of the Elite. I'm your host, Jim Chapman, and all I can say about today's episode is that if you're someone that the details are too hard for you to listen to, this is not the episode for you. You're going to want to listen to something else probably. And I know that sounds pretty weird coming from the host of a podcast, but this one is really descriptive, and I just want to give you that warning up front. Now, if you've listened to my podcast for a while, you know I'm someone that feels I would be doing you a disservice by not giving you the full details, regardless of what they are. I don't filter things because they occur, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it when people are committing crimes, especially teachers. So there you have it. Let's get into it. And today I'm going to tell you about bad teacher Brittany Fortinberry. And this stuff with Brittany Fortinberry is fairly recent, and details still continue to come out even to this day. So who is Brittany Fortinberry? Well, she was a teacher from Martinsville, Indiana. She was 31 years old and married at the time that these allegations took place. So what happened? Well, the investigation started in late August of 2024. Now, according to the probable cause affidavit, an investigator was called to Eminence High School to investigate a report made by two students to staff of that high school that they were receiving inappropriate messages on Instagram from a teacher, Brittany Fortinberry. In addition, they claimed that they were getting inappropriate videos from Brittany Fortinberry as well. So the investigator gets this information and he schedules an interview with the two students that made the claims. And the first interview was conducted on September 3rd of 2024 with who I'm going to call victim number one. And I'm going to summarize that interview according to that affidavit. So victim number one said that around the fourth day of school, he was called to the office and was told a new teacher had arrived at that school, and he was going to be that new teacher's teaching assistant. The new teacher was Brittany Fortinberry. So he goes to her class. She introduces herself. She tells him right away that he could call her Miss B. And he helped her unload some boxes from her car. He also helped her grade some papers that day, and according to victim number one, at first, everything seemed normal. He went on to say that even the rest of the week was fairly normal. So the weekend comes, and over that weekend, she adds him on Instagram. And he went on to say that as soon as she added him, she sent him a text asking him where the cross-country meet was for that high school that was set to take place that weekend. She said that she wanted to attend some meets. Now, at first, he found this kind of strange that she was asking him and not another teacher, but he responded back with a link to the schedule for that meet, and she continued chatting with him on Instagram. But it was innocent in his mind. She was just asking him what he was going to be doing over the weekend. And the way he described it, it was just friendly text. Now, already, us as adults, we know that's inappropriate, but I'll continue on. He then said that following Monday, when he returned to school, she was getting even more friendly with him. And he also noticed she started favoring him over the other teacher assistant who was his bestie. And he said at one point that day, she asked victim number one how old he was, and he responded with 18. And then she asked how old his buddy was, that other teacher's assistant, who we'll refer to going forward as victim number two. And he stated in that case that his buddy was 17. So he said after he told her that he was 18, she really started focusing a lot of her attention on him. And he said it felt kind of weird because he could tell that she was flirting with him, but he knew some people that they just kind of had flirty attitudes. So that's what he chalked it up to. Then that Wednesday, after leaving class to go get lunch, he gets another message on Instagram from Brittany Fortinberry, and she thanked him for grading papers for her. He responded with, "No problem, happy to do it. Hope you have a great weekend." And the way she responded back really took this kid by surprise. Her response was, "You too, but you aren't the one who had to change their pants after class." Now, this guy was not sure what she meant by that. So he responds back with, "Wow, okay." And it was later on that Wednesday that she messaged him yet again on Instagram and asked him to come to her room, saying she needed some help finishing grading papers, which he did. Later that night, he was with victim number 2. They were just hanging out at victim number 1's house, and victim number 2 gets an Instagram message from Brittany. And in that message, she asked him if he wanted to see her new collection. And before this kid could even respond back, he gets a video. And in this video that she sent him, it was Brittany going through several drawers of what appeared to be her dresser. And they were completely full of sex toys. And she's pulling them out one by one and just kind of showing them on the video. Now, according to victim number 2, he said that kind of freaked him out. So he deleted the chats, he sat his phone down, and he went back to hanging out with victim number 1. I'm sure they talked about it, but he didn't say they talked about it. The next day, she starts chatting with victim number 1 again. And she was sending him pictures, and it was pictures of her in, let's just say, sexy dresses. But the straps of the dresses were pulled down off the shoulders. And one thing about Brittany Fortinberry that I hadn't mentioned is that she is very voluptuous. Now, I'm a guy, not a girl. I don't know a whole lot about cup sizes. But later on in this story, Brittany gets questioned by police and mentioned that her cup size is an H size. So me as a guy, I know that's big. But continuing on, she's sending these pictures. Her boobs are completely falling out, basically. And this guy knew exactly what she was doing. He told the investigator that he could tell she was trying to get him to check out her cleavage. And he told the investigator he responded back with a statement saying sending pictures like that could ruin your job. And that he had a wonderful girlfriend and he had no problems with being the teacher's assistant, but that she needed to leave him alone outside of that. Now keep in mind, he's in high school. He is 18. So he then stated that later that night, she sent him a link to apply for a scholarship. And he kind of took this as her trying to be helpful and maybe smooth things over with him. She probably was filling him out to see if he was going to tell anybody about those pictures. But another thing he mentioned was every time she would send him suggestive text, she would send them in vanish mode. And when she would send him more professional text, like the scholarship link, they wouldn't be in vanish mode, which says a lot right there. It proves that she knows that she was doing something wrong if she's sending something in vanish mode. Again, he was 18, but she's a teacher. He's a senior in high school. So the next day after all this occurred, he's talking to victim number 2. And of course, these high school kids talk. How many times have we covered that? And he mentions his conversation and his buddy says, "You're not going to believe this, but she started talking to me on Instagram last night in some pretty great detail." Victim number 1 also mentioned that during the conversations, she had told him over the last 2 years that she had lost over 100 pounds. And he said that the way she said it, it was almost like she was looking for praise out of him. And he said, I responded to that with, "That's great." But a few other disturbing things that she mentioned to victim number one was the fact that when she was younger, she was a stripper. I mean, why are you telling that to your student? She also said that she had an OnlyFans account and did mention that she was married to a firefighter. Now, when the investigator asked him, did she send you any nude pictures? He did reply with no, just revealing pictures. And he said there were about 6 pictures in total that she sent. She also sent him a picture of her room where he could see a stripper pole that she had installed in that room. And he mentioned her only communications with him were through Instagram. And lastly on that, the investigator learned that Brittany Fortinberry told victim number one morning in class that the prior night she had a dream that she had sex with him and his buddy at the same time. And what's she doing there? Textbook grooming. She's wanting to see how he responds to that. And it's her way of letting him know what she's wanting to do with regards to a threesome with these 2 high school kids. So armed with this information, the investigator goes to victim number 2. This was on the same day, September 3rd of 2024. And victim number 2 verifies everything victim number 1 had said regarding how they came to know this teacher, her sharing that she used to be a stripper, and he also said she would share intimate details about her sex life with her husband. He said in one conversation on Instagram, she told victim number 2 that she was very, very, very sexually active in the past. He said when he mentioned this to victim number 1, victim number 1 told victim number 2, you ought to ask her about that couch in her bedroom. So he did. And her response was that the couch was where her and her husband had sex. Again, she's having this conversation with her high school students. He said at some point she mentioned she also had a TikTok account to him, but that he didn't have a TikTok. And he said he thought it was only a couple of days before she started sending all of her messages to him in vanish mode. The first image he received from her in vanish mode was her smoking weed in her garage. Now, let me tell you about some of these conversations that she was having with the 17-year-old. She talked about being raped by her first husband. She talked about having part of her uterus removed. She talked about how she partied a lot and that she was on a lot of dating apps. And he said at some point she mentioned making $12,000 from OnlyFans, to which he responded with, quote, OnlyFans is an app to manipulate men. And she responded to that with, no, I mainly do that on Snapchat, and then provided her Snapchat handle to him. And he said in the video she would send, like the one of her smoking weed, she was always wearing something very revealing, but never fully exposing herself. He said that he received similar videos 3 times from her, all of them in vanish mode. So after that second interview was done, the investigator figured out it was almost identical to what the detective was hearing from victim number 1. So it's a high likelihood these high school students are telling the truth. So at this point, the detective feels like he has enough to seek a search warrant for Brittany Fortinberry's residence. So he does that, and a judge grants that search warrant, and he heads over there to see if he can verify some of these things that these 2 high school students were saying. They were descriptive about how her bedroom looked, all those sort of things. So he gets there. This is on September 6th, just a couple of days after interviewing those high school students. But Brittany's not there. Now, according to the affidavit, someone in the family was there who the affidavit does not specify. But the investigator said, can you call her? And I speak with her on the phone. The family member does that, and the investigator advises Brittany that they're there to serve a search warrant, and would she come on home so he could speak with her? which she agreed to do. And while she's on the way home, they go ahead and they execute this search warrant. And guess what they find in a basement bedroom? A stripper pole, just like what those students described. They also found numerous, is how they define it, sex toys in a dresser that was consistent with what victim number one had said. And I want to say right here, it's not illegal to have a stripper pole in your house. It's not illegal to have sex in your house. It's not illegal to have sex toys in your house. I got no issues with that. But it's a little different when you're sending pictures of all of this to high school students. So they take pictures of all this stuff that they find, and Brittany never shows up at the house. So the investigator leaves. He goes back to the sheriff's office and he says, when Brittany gets home, have her meet me at the sheriff's office.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The same day, around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Brittany shows up at the sheriff's office and he conducts an interview with her. So Brittany said that she was told by the school that she was having inappropriate conversations with students. And she tells the investigator, look, I have a bunch of social media and I can be pretty provocative on my social media. And somehow this has gotten around the school. And once she realized that it was going around the school, she blocked it, according to her, to where the kids could not see it. And she claimed that she even reported all this to the administration of the school. She even says that she met with the union president for the teachers union, and she said as a result of that meeting, she resigned from the school. She acted like she had no idea where these accusations were coming from. She said, all I was told was an 18-year-old and 17-year-old made allegations about me, and she resigned because she was offended by those accusations. So at this point, the investigators trying to figure out how these high school students, if what she was saying were true, how would they know all these personal details about her? And the investigator asked her about her ex-husband, and she said he was abusive and that he was fighting for custody of their son, etc. And the detective moves into asking her if she's had any sort of conversations with students outside of school, especially related to conversations that would be considered inappropriate or sexual in nature. And Brittany responds that the school was accusing her of the same thing, and she said she didn't know where it was coming from. She then goes on to tell the investigator that, to be honest with him, she regressed the day she lost weight, saying that she wouldn't have any of these issues if she were still 150 pounds heavier. Which, remember, victim number one stated she had mentioned to him that she had lost over 100 pounds. So that confirms she's likely had at least that conversation with that high school student, because she was not a teacher when she was 150 pounds heavier. So that student wouldn't know unless she told him. And it's not illegal to tell a student you've lost 150 pounds or 100 plus pounds. Nothing wrong with that. But it validates the student was being honest about it. And if he's being honest about that, he's probably being honest about other things. So we'll continue. Brittany then tells the investigator that she felt like she was being discriminated against from the school for the way she looked. And she brought up an incident as to why she thought that. She said that the school called her in and said she could not go to a particular community pool where the students were having a pool party. It must have been a school-sponsored event. And she asked why she couldn't go, and they told her that the moms felt it would be a distraction because, as I told you, she's very top heavy, if you will. She told the officer she had a very traumatic childhood and had borderline personality disorder, but that she really enjoyed teaching and that she had been teaching for Martinsville schools for only one semester. She even said that she chose to teach high school students because she realized they're going through puberty and that she felt like she might could help them with issues that come with going through puberty. Now, I mean, she really fucking said that. That's not something that's the whole problem. That's the whole issue here, right? Brittany also told investigators that she did have a past and that she did have an OnlyFans account, and she doesn't know how, but someone at some point posted a video of her on Pornhub. So after getting all this history, the detective comes out and asks Brittany what her thoughts were on the most recent allegations that school had made. And Brittany admitted to contacting victim number 1 and victim number 2 and said she contacted them on Instagram regarding scholarship things. And her claim was they were trying to talk to her about stuff that was outside of what you would consider school things, and that she tried to nip it in the bud because she's been on the wrong side of inappropriate conversations in the past, and she wanted to make sure she set some boundaries. Now, Brittany claimed that all she did was talk to them about scholarship things, and that one of the students did try to do a video call with her a couple of times, but that she, quote, shut that down. She also claimed that she was trying to see if the boys knew other kids that were trying to add her on Snapchat. And that was one of the reasons she was reaching out to them on Instagram. She said she had a lot of problems after it got out that she had an OnlyFans account from kids that she suspected were from that high school reaching out and trying to follow her on Snapchat. And she was trying to disseminate who to allow to follow her and who not to allow. She said after she quit at Eminence High School, she shut down all of her social media accounts because she had students' parents trying to add her and she wasn't sure what their intentions were. She even brings up a very strange correction that she had to make with a student. And she said that a student had drawn a penis on another student's arm. And Brittany said the comments about one of the boyfriend's girlfriends sucking it so good where the ink would come off were written on his arm. And Brittany said she told him to wash it off and he needs to not do such inappropriate things. And the reason she's doing that is she's trying to prove that even when the students would do inappropriate things, I would shut it down. So why would I do inappropriate things? So the detective, he goes on to explain to Brittany why they were at that house and why they were serving that search warrant. And he said it was to verify what these students were saying. He then asked her again if any of the conversations that she had with victim number 1 or victim number 2 were other than what she claimed, which were about those scholarships, right? Then he let her in on a little bit of evidence that they had, and he brought up that stripper pole. And he said, look, if you didn't have any conversations outside the realm of scholarships, and if they knew who these Snapchat handles were, then how did one of the boys know you had a stripper pole in a room in your house? And Brittany responded with this. She said she had posted the stripper pole picture on her Instagram stories. And basically, if the boys saw that, then they would know she had a stripper pole in her house. The detective then asked if she had sent any other videos in the bedroom to the students. And he went further and stated that the students claimed that she had sent a video of her going through her sex toys, and that he was able to verify at her residence when they searched that residence that the dresser they described was there and the sex toys were in the dresser that they described. And her response to that was that she had a FetLife account. And if you don't know what FetLife is, it's a fetish website. And she said she had posted a video of her going through her sex toys on FetLife. And one or both of those students must have seen it posted there. So she completely denied sending that video to the students. She did talk about the fact that she used to sell nude pictures and said that they would not have had access to that. She said she would sell them on FetLife, but that FetLife had age verification processes in place before you could access the site. And she completely denied everything as it related to sexual advances, sex talk, or anything with victim number one or victim number two. And the investigator does something that's pretty common during questioning at this point. The investigator tried to play both sides. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to trap her into admitting something. And so he starts giving her outs to see if she will take them. And one of the things he asked was, is it possible you could have left your phone like open at school one day and a video maybe was up on your phone, or the students grabbed your phone and scrolled through it real quick and saw a video? And she said, well, sometimes they would listen to music on my phone while we were grading papers, etc. But she can't imagine they would have had enough time to go through it with her being right there with them. And the investigator continued on, and he said, well, is it possible you could have had a conversation with one of these victims or both of these victims in which they could have misconstrued something? And she responded with none of the conversation she had with them would have been sexual in nature. And she mentioned there was an instance where her dress broke in the parking lot and she had to wear a sweater at school that day. And the two students in her class kept asking why she was wearing a sweater. And she felt like they were alluding to, why don't you just take your top off or wear the dress?
Looking for excitement? Chumba Casino is here. Play anytime, play anywhere. Play on the train, play at the store, play at home, play when you're bored. Play today for your chance to win and get daily bonuses when you log in. So what are you waiting for? Don't delay. Chumba Casino is free to play.
Experience social gameplay like never before. Go to Chumba Casino right now to play hundreds of games, including online slots, bingo, Slingo, and more. Live the Chumba life at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
With the broken strap so we can check out your tits, right? Now, she goes on this rant from there, basically saying she had H-size breast and that it's a constant topic of conversation with people and makes her feel very uncomfortable. And she said that she had learned a lot of lessons in her younger years. Now, she's 31 at this point, but said that she learned a lot of lessons because she had had sex with over 300 men before she turned 18. What? That's exactly what she said. 300 men before she turned 18. Is she telling the truth or not? I don't know. But why would you tell the police that? So the investigator said if all of these messages were innocent that you were sending on Instagram, then why would you send them in vanish mode? And her response to that was that she had always had her Instagram on vanish mode when she would send messages, and she was just too lazy to turn it off. And he says, well, then how come some of the messages weren't in vanish mode? And she said, well, at some points I would become unlazy for a second and I would turn off vanish mode, then I would turn it back on. And she really had no answer for him on that. So at this point, the investigator concludes that interview and he tells Brittany he'll be in touch, and she leaves. He then secures a search warrant for records from Meta Platform, which owns Instagram and Facebook. And he gets records for victim number 1 and victim number 2 and that's on October 8th of 2024. And according to those records, both victims showed they blocked a user on Instagram on August 23rd of 2024, which was consistent with the timing of everything and also consistent with the time in which Brittany said she got rid of all her social media accounts. Now, according to the investigator, and I'm going to quote here, he said, "In my experience as a law enforcement officer, when someone deletes or removes their accounts, it removes everything associated with it, which would be consistent with why victim number 1 and victim number 2 records only reflect they blocked someone, but does not show the account they blocked." And what he's trying to say there is it doesn't show they blocked Brittany Fortinberry because Brittany Fortinberry deleted all her social media. And so they don't know. It doesn't show on those records. Now, he goes on to say, "I would also advise while interviewing Brittany, she discussed removing her social media before I had the opportunity to speak with anyone involved in the matter." So at the same time, the detective also advised that he had received personal records from the community schools of Martinsville and that he felt like he had enough to get an arrest warrant for Brittany Fortinberry. So he does that. He goes to a judge to get them to sign a warrant. And when you do these things, you show all your evidence. But the judge in this instance disagreed and denied the probable cause affidavit because it was based on only allegations. And let's talk about this for a second because you don't see this too often, especially in cases like this. Typically, when police officer investigators seek out probable cause arrest warrants, especially when it involves teacher students, things like that, they get them. Usually they have some sort of evidence. You don't have to have evidence beyond a reasonable doubt to get an arrest warrant. It's only a judge signing this at the time. It's not court. But at this point in the investigation, I actually agree with the judge. All they had here at this point was alleged conversations from 2 students against a teacher, basically one person's word against a couple of other people's word. And really, there's no evidence. These kids couldn't produce any videos, any messages, anything outside of what they say occurred. Now, it could have been completely true that stripper pole was posted in Instagram stories and that these students just came across it. So other than allegations, just no solid evidence yet. But that's going to change sooner than you think when a second probable cause affidavit becomes available and some hard evidence comes out against Brittany Fortinberry. And I'm going to bring all that to you on next week's edition of Bad Teachers. I want to thank all of you for listening. Check out the Patreon. These people do so much to support this show. Without them, I could not do it. It's just that simple. You can join for as little as $2.50 a week. And for that, you get commercial-free early release episodes. So if you're someone that doesn't like to hear the commercials, you don't want to have to skip through them, join the Patreon. And they get released early, 24 hours early for Patreon members. In addition to that, we have other tiers in which we drop files that you're not going to see anywhere else. It's where we get our information to cover these episodes. And the top tier, which is the global celebrity tier, you even get quarterly merch. So check it out. Please support me on Patreon if you're able to do so. I get it. If Patreon's a little bit too much for you, just share the show on your social media. That really helps get the message out, gets more listeners, and all those sorts of things. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And until next time, for Exposed Scandalous Files of the Elite, I'm your host, Jim Chapman. Much love.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.